Travel Documentaries, Rome, Then and Now. Rome has been one of the most influential places to the modern world, as ancient Rome set the foundations to how a territory should be governed. Rome was the center of Europe during ancient times, and is now one of the most important capital cities in the world. Being a city with so much history, Rome has much to offer for history junkies and tourists. Visiting Rome can be like taking a journey back in time. Because of the long history of Rome, I will only be covering the Roman Empire, parts of medieval Rome, and the Renaissance. By the end of the Republic, the city of Rome was the capital of an empire dominating the whole of the Mediterranean. At the time, it was the largest city in the world with a population of 1 to 2 million people. The population increased under Augustus, who completed Caesar's projects and added many of his own, such as the Forum of Augustus and the Ara Pacis. In AD 64, during the reign of Nero, the Great Fire of Rome left much of the city destroyed, but in many ways it was used as an excuse for new development. Under the rule of the Flavian dynasty, which ruled the Roman Empire from AD 69 from AD 96. During this time, the Colosseum was built. At the end of the 2nd century, the Antoine Plague killed 2,000 people a day. Starting in the 3rd century, matters changed. The crisis of the 3rd century defines the disaster and political troubles of the empire, which nearly collapsed. In 330, Constantine I established the second capital at Constantinople. At this time, part of the Roman aristocratic class moved to this new center, followed by many artists and craftsmen who were living in the city. Also from 284 to 337, Constantinople replaced Rome as the capital of the empire. Christianity reached Rome during the 1st century AD, and by the 3rd century, Christianity became too widespread to suppress. Constantine I became the first Christian emperor, and Theodosius I established Christianity as the official religion. By 395, there was a definitive separation between the Western and Eastern Roman Empire. In 410, the Goths of Alaric sacked Rome, which led to the decline and fall of the Western Roman Empire. The Goths cut off the aqueducts in the siege of 537, an act which historians traditionally regard as the beginning of the Middle Ages in Italy. In 608, Emperor Phocas donated the Pantheon to Pope Boniface IV, converting it to a Christian church. During the 7th century, an influx of Byzantine officials and churchmen from elsewhere in the empire made both local aristocracy and church leadership largely Greek-speaking. 11 of 13 popes between 678 and 752 were of Greek or Syrian descent. On December 25th, 800, Pope Leo III crowned Charlemagne Holy Roman Emperor in the old St.Peters Basilica. This act forever severed the loyalty of Rome from Constantinople. From 1048 to 1257, the papacy experienced increasing conflicts with the leaders of the churches of the Holy Roman Empire and the Byzantine Empire. The latter culminated in East and West Shemism, dividing the Catholic Church and Eastern Orthodox Church. In 1300, Boniface VIII launched the first Jubilee, and in 1303, the first University of Rome was founded. The Jubilee was an important move for Rome, as it further increased its international prestige, and most of all, the city's economy was boosted by the flow of pilgrims. The so-called Babylonian captivity lasted for more than 70 years. This situation brought the independence of local powers, but they were revealed to be largely unstable, and the lack of holy revenues caused the decay of Rome. From 1420 to 1519, Rome became the center of the Renaissance. The new St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel were also founded during this time period. The Renaissance had a great impact on Rome's appearance, with works like the Pieta by Michelangelo and the frescoes of the Borgia apartment, all made during Innocent's reign. During the 20-year reign of the Medici family, Rome became the greatest center of art in the world. During this period, many famous works were created, including Michelangelo's decoration of the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, Raphael's frescoes in Cappella Niccolini, and Raphael's room. In 1527, an ambiguous policy followed by the second Medici Pope. In 1527, the ambiguous policy followed by the second Medici Pope, Pope Clement VII, resulted in the sack of Rome. After the execution of some 1,000 defenders, the pillage began. The city was devastated for several days. Many of the citizens were killed or took shelter outside the walls. In the 18th century, the papacy reached the peak of its power. The papal states included most of central Italy, small enclaves of southern Italy, and some parts of southern France. Baroque architecture flourished in Rome during the Baroque period, as work on the Trevi Fountain began in 1732 and was completed in 1762. Let's move forward to the 1960s. Rome grew substantially after World War II and was one of the driving forces behind the Italian economic miracle. miracle of post-war reconstruction and modernization. Rome hosted the 1960 Summer Olympics, using many ancient sites, such as the Villa Borghese and the Therma of Caracalla as venues. Rome has many historical sites to visit due to its history that spans 28 centuries. As the center of the Roman Empire, Rome was arguably the most important city in the world. Rome has the status as a global city and has some of the most popular tourist attractions in the world. Rome is the third most visited city in the EU, receiving an average of 7 to 10 million tourists a year. Some of my favorite landmarks to visit in Rome are the Vatican City, St.Peters Basilica, and the Colosseum. I also enjoy visiting the historical buildings, churches, and fountains in the city. Here are some places you must see in Rome. The Colosseum is an oval amphitheater built in AD 72 and completed in AD 80 in the center of the city. It is the largest amphitheater ever built. It could hold between 50,000 and 80,000 spectators. Is a rectangular forum that is surrounded by the ruins of several important ancient government buildings at the center of the city of Rome. The citizens of the ancient city referred to this space, which was originally a marketplace, as the Forum Magnum, or simply the Forum. St. Peter's Basilica is the most renowned work of Renaissance architecture and the largest church in the world. St. Peter's Basilica is regarded as one of the holiest Catholic shrines and is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The dome of the St. Peter's Basilica rises to a total height of 136.57 meters and is the tallest dome in the world. The Vatican Museums are Christian and art museums located within the city boundaries of the Vatican City. They display works from immense collections amassed by popes throughout the centuries, including several of the most renowned Roman sculptures and masterpieces of Renaissance art in the world. The Sistine Chapel is part of the Vatican Museum. It is best known for Michelangelo's 16th century painted ceiling. The Trevi Fountain is a fountain in the Trevi district in Rome, designed by Italian architect Nicola Salvi and completed by Giuseppe Panini and several others. Standing 26.3 meters high and 49.15 meters wide, it is the largest Baroque fountain in the city and one of the most famous fountains in the world. The Pantheon is a former Roman temple and is now a church in Rome. It is set on the site of an earlier temple commissioned during the reign of Augustus. It was completed by the Emperor Hadrian and dedicated in 126 AD. It is regarded by many that the form of the Pantheon is the most influential in Western Europe. The Piazza Navona is the square in Rome built on the site of the Stadium of Domitian in the 1st century AD. The ancient Romans went there to watch the Angonus, and hence it was known as Circus Angonalis. The Spanish Steps are a set of steps in Rome, climbing a steep slope between the Piazza de Spagna at the base, Piazza Triniti dei Monti. It is dominated by the Triniti dei Monti Church at the top of the steps. Piazza di Spagna, at the bottom of the Spanish Steps, is one of the most famous squares in Rome. Nearby is the famed column of the Immaculate Conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Castel Sant'Angelo is situated on the right bank of the Tiber River. It has a real turbulent history, even on Rome standards. It was initially commissioned by the Roman Emperor Hadrian as a mausoleum for himself and his family. The building was later used by the popes as a fortress and a castle. It is now a museum. The best shopping streets in Rome are Via del Corso, Via Conditi, and Via Cola del Renzo. There are also unique outdoor flea markets and antique shops worth visiting as well. Rome has tons of amazing food to eat, from the city's favorite street foods and its famous pasta dishes to vegetable and oval shops. Even though Rome is a modern metropolis, it still has some of the ruins of some of the most important structures from Rome's past. On the next travel documentary, Berlin, Then and Now.